Welcome to this exciting course on designing a sleek and interactive wallet interface using Figma. In this course, you'll learn how to create a visually compelling wallet app from scratch. We'll cover everything from designing a deck of cards, creating a dial, and list picker. We'll leverage elements from the DesignCode UI kit and Apple's UI kit to build our design. These kits provide pre-designed elements and a cohesive design system to speed up our workflow. Here's what you can expect to learn. Learn how to initiate your wallet interface design from a blank canvas. Build and customize a deck of cards that will be the core element of your wallet. Design a functional dial and a list picker to enhance user interaction and ease of use. Discover how to design and organize multiple screens for a seamless user experience. Learn to create reusable components and their variants, optimizing your design process and consistency across the interface. Master the use of after delay triggers and Smart Animate for smooth, dynamic animations and interactions. For our YouTube Premium members and subscribers from the DesignCode website, we offer additional advanced sections. Swipe gesture. Implement intuitive swipe actions to navigate and interact with your wallet interface. Carousel animation. Create engaging, animated carousels to display content attractively. Open overlay. Learn how to use overlays for presenting additional information or actions without leaving the current screen. As a bonus, we also provide different wallet app design templates and prototypes to inspire and expand your creative toolkit. To follow along with this course, you will need the Figma file provided in the link below. This free version includes the UI design for the wallet app, a simple prototype with the after delay trigger, and a design system that includes text styles, color styles, and effect styles. In Figma, click on the community icon located in the top left tab. This will take you to the community page where you can find various resources and kits. Use the search bar at the top to type Apple UI kit. You'll see a list of results, with the newest and most relevant kits appearing first. Find the latest Apple UI kit and click on it. On the kits page, click the Open in Figma button. This will automatically create a copy of the kit in your Drafts section, making it easy for you to start using it in your designs. We'll primarily use this for the status bar and home indicator. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. Additionally, you can download the DesignCode UI kit from the Figma community. Search for DesignCode UI kit by Mung To. This free version includes text styles and various components such as buttons, menus, cards, icons, color styles, effect styles, and more. For those interested in more advanced feature, we offer exclusive templates in various categories and styles available for purchase. You can explore and buy them at DesignCodeUI.com. Next, let's explore the DesignCode UI kit to enhance our design. In the DesignCode UI kit, you'll find a comprehensive color palette. This includes primary, secondary, and neutral colors. Primary colors. These are the main colors that represent your brand. Secondary colors. These colors complement your primary colors and add depth to your design. Neutral colors. Grayscale colors used for text, backgrounds, and UI elements. Let's talk about how to use colors contextually within your design. Use lighter shades for backgrounds to reduce eye strain. Medium shades are ideal for buttons and other interactive elements to make them stand out. Make sure your colors complement each other to create a visually harmonious interface. If you click on the canvas and check the right sidebar, you will notice local variables, text styles, color styles, and effect styles that are already set up. These are part of the design system included in the UI kit. Clicking on the local variable opens a modal with detailed information. Color variables, also known as design tokens, store your color values. Using descriptive names and applying these variables consistently ensures ease of updates and uniformity across your design. Users on professional, organization, and enterprise plans can publish styles, so you can reuse them across your designs. I'll quickly show you how to use the DesignCode UI kit in Figma. For more in-depth guidance, you can visit the website at DesignCodeUI.com. Press F to create a new frame, and in the right sidebar, select the iPhone 14 Pro frame size. Click on the Style and Variable icon in the Fill panel. This will open the panel where you can manage styles and variables. Here you can choose background primary. In the Layer panel, you'll see an icon called Change Variable Mode. Click on this to toggle between light mode and dark mode. In the Figma file, go to the Assets tab. Here you'll find all the local components from the DesignCode UI kit library. Browse through the various components available, such as buttons, cards, icons, and more. You can use the search bar to find specific elements. To use a component, either click the Insert Instance button or drag the component directly onto the canvas. Once a component is on the canvas, you can adjust its properties and settings. For example, with a credit card component, you can choose different card types and patterns. There are other options you can try. If you select the screen frame and change the layer properties to dark mode, you'll notice that the text and other elements will automatically update to the dark mode style. When you select a text component, you'll see options for color and spacing. In the spacing options, you can choose different sizes from regular to extra large. To change the text style, select the text component, go to Text Properties, and click on the text field to apply the desired style. Go to the Fill panel and click the Color Picker to see the available color styles. You can explore more components from the assets and add backgrounds to enhance your design. Each component has its own settings that you can play with. Now that you're familiar with the design system, let's get started. Create a frame for the iPhone 14 Pro. In Figma, select the Frame tool from the toolbar or press F. If you're new to Figma, click the icon in the bottom right corner of your screen and select Keyboard Shortcuts. This will display shortcuts specific to your device. Click and drag to create a frame with dimensions 393 x 852. On the right side panel, you can choose the option for iPhone 14 Pro from the list. Set the position to the origin with X at 0 and Y at 0. This helps maintain a clean and organized design. Select the frame, go to the Fill section in the Properties panel, set the background color to dark, or choose from the design system. Import the status bar and home indicator from the Apple UI kit. To do this, open the Apple UI kit file. Using the status bar from the Apple UI kit in Figma ensures design accuracy and consistency with Apple's guidelines, saving time and providing a professional, native look. Find the status bar and home indicator components, and copy them. Paste these components into your frame. Let's align this component. In the Properties panel, locate the Align section. Click Align Left, then Align Top. Here on the status bar component property, we can enable dark mode. Down here, we can enable the layout grid. Next, let's go back to the Apple UI kit. Copy the home indicator and paste the component into the frame. Let's align the component to the bottom left. In the component properties, you can enable dark mode. Next, let's add a title section. Create a new frame by selecting the Frame tool and drawing a frame with dimensions 393/50. Write the title, Wallet. Select the Text tool from the toolbar or press T. Click on the frame and type Wallet. For better visibility, we can add a fill color and adjust its opacity. We can use the design system for the fonts. In the Property panel, click on the Style icon and then choose Title 1. Position the title here for now. Next, I want to create a button with an icon. To create a perfect circle, select the Ellipse tool and while holding Shift, click and drag to draw the circle. Change the size to 34. Make sure the constraint is locked. This will keep the circular proportions. Next, let's search for the three dots icon on the Asset panel. In the search bar, type More, then select the icon. A panel of properties will appear for that icon. In the Properties panel, you'll see options to choose between a light or dark version of the icon. Once you've selected the desired version, click the Insert Instance button. We can drag the icon and place it above the ellipse. I want to change its outline to a fill. Next, switch to the Layers panel. In the Layers panel, hold down the Shift key and click on each of the 3 dots to select them all. Next, we'll use the white primary color from the design system. Then, select the ellipse and change its color to light gray by choosing Container Divider from the list. Let's hide the frame background since we won't need it. Go to the Fill panel, then click on the eye icon to hide it or delete it. Next, let's create a frame by selecting both the icon and the ellipse, then press Option plus Command plus G. Make sure to align the icon to the center. Use Auto Layout to organize the title section. Select the main frame, then go to the Auto Layout panel on the right to activate it. By default, resizing is set to Hug Content, which will make the frame as small as possible. Go to the Frame panel and change the resizing option back to fixed size. Set the value to 393. Navigate to the Auto Layout panel and set the spacing to Auto. This will use the available space to fill the frame. In the Properties panel, set the padding to 16 and 8. Now, let's align this frame. Use a smart guide to assist you. Hold down the Option key while hovering the mouse over the frame. You will see red lines and numbers indicating the space between elements. While holding the Option key, use the arrow keys to move your frame. The space should be set to 0. Let's fix the ellipse here. When working with a design system and variables, you need to consider whether it is in dark or light mode. In our case, we are working in dark mode. Let's verify one frame at a time. Navigate to the Layers panel and click on the Variable Mode icon. Select Color and set it to Dark. You will notice that the ellipse changes to light gray. Next, we are going to replicate this card. We'll focus on one card for now, and later we'll cover how to create components and variants. Start by drawing a rectangle. In Figma, select the Rectangle tool from the toolbar or press R on your keyboard. Click and drag to draw a rectangle with dimensions 170 by 256, or set the dimensions directly in the Frame panel. In the Properties panel on the right, set the corner radius to 14. Click on Align Horizontal Center. Let's use the Smart Guide to help us position this card. Hold the Option key and hover over the frame to see the spacing guides. Use the arrow keys to adjust the frame until the space is 32 pixels. Apply a color of your choice, or use one from the design system. To do this, select the rectangle, go to the Fill section in the Properties panel, and choose a color like Indigo 800. Alternatively, you can manually add the hex color code. Next, we need a Visa logo. In this Figma file, the logo is provided on the Typography and Content page. Find it, then copy and paste it onto your card. The logo is too large, so let's scale it down. Press K to activate the Scale tool. On the right, you'll see the Scale property. From the list of options, choose 0.5x. This will scale it down by half while keeping the proportions. Next, select the logo and the rectangle, then press Option plus Command plus G to create a frame. This will make it easier to align the logo. Position it 12 pixels from the top and 0 pixels from the left. Add a name using the Text tool. Select the Text tool from the toolbar or press T. Click on the rectangle and type the name. In the Text Properties panel, choose the font to subheadline semi-bold from the design system. Align the text 12 pixels from the left and center it vertically. Create an expiration date frame by drawing a small rectangle. Press the F key, then click and drag to draw a frame. In the Fill panel, click on the Style and Variable icon, then choose Container Background as the color. In the Frame panel, set the corner radius to 5. Next, use the Text tool to add the expiration date. Choose the Caption 2 font style, Regular, from the design system. Then, set the text color to Foreground Primary. We can use Auto Layout for this frame. Navigate to the Auto Layout panel to activate it. By default, it's set to Hug Content. Set the space to 0. We don't need any spacing. Set the horizontal padding to 4 and the vertical padding to 4. Align this frame 12 pixels from the left and 12 pixels from the bottom. Use the Smart Guide for assistance by holding down the Option key. All right, so far so good. Next, let's replicate this dial. First, let's create a circle. Use the Ellipse tool from the toolbar or press the O key. Hold down the Option key, then click and drag to create a perfect circle with dimensions 295 by 295. In the Frame panel, you can adjust the values. To maintain the proportions, make sure to lock the constraint. Let's align the circle to the horizontal center and 64 pixels from the bottom. Use the Smart Guide for assistance. When you click on the circle, you'll see a dot towards the right. This is the Arc tool. Sweep defines how complete the circle is. Start specifies where the arc starts. Ratios defines how full the circle is. As you adjust these settings, they will appear in the Properties panel. In the Properties panel, set the start value to 90, the sweep value to 100%, and the ratio value to 80%. Let's add a color to this ring. You can use the hex code for indigo here, or alternatively, select Indigo 500 from the design system. Let's create an inner ellipse. Using the Ellipse tool, draw an ellipse with dimensions 231 by 231, or adjust the dimensions in the Frame panel. Position it in the center. Next, create a frame by selecting the two ellipses and pressing Option plus Command plus G. Add color to the inner ellipse from the design system by selecting Background Primary. Next, we'll draw an outer ellipse for the knob. Select the Ellipse tool and draw an ellipse with dimensions 58 by 58. Set the fill color to Foreground Primary from the design system. Align the ellipses to the horizontal center. Press Command plus D to duplicate the outer ellipse. Navigate back to the frame properties and change the size of the duplicated ellipse to 44 by 44. Set the fill color to Indigo 500 from the design system. Now, select the two ellipses and press Option plus Command plus G to create a frame. This will make it easier to align them to the center. Name the layer for better organization. Now, select the inner ellipse and align it to the center. Next, we'll replicate this list picker, similar to what you see in a calendar app. To do this, we will need the inner ellipse from the dial. Press Command plus D to duplicate it, then move this layer out of the frame. It's better to name the frame to avoid confusion. Next, create its own frame by pressing Option plus Command plus G. Set up the frame. Select the Frame tool from the toolbar or press F, and create a frame with dimensions 231 by 34. Make sure that the new frame is not inside the dial's frame. To avoid confusion, it's better to name the layers. Align this frame to the horizontal center. Add a fill color to the frame. Set the color to white with an opacity of 16% for now. Let's import an icon from the asset library. Search for credit in the search bar. I choose this one. In the Properties panel, choose Dark Mode, then click on the Insert Instance button. Move the icon inside the frame. Next, add a text field by pressing T and name it Credit Card. Align the icon to the horizontal and vertical center. In the Text Properties panel, set the font to Headline and the style to semi-bold from the design system. Next, let's add an auto layout. First, select the Lists frame. In the Properties panel, activate Auto Layout. In the Frame panel, Set the horizontal resizing to fixed width with a dimension of 231. Align the list frame to the left and vertical center. In the Auto Layout panel, set the vertical padding to 8 and the spacing to 20. I want to set the horizontal padding separately. To do this, click on the corresponding icon. Set the left padding to 30 and the right padding to 16. I want to change the color to one from the design system. Choose Container Background Tertiary. Let's name this frame List. Next, duplicate this frame by pressing Command+D. Move the duplicated frame above with 0 spacing. Duplicate the initial frame again and move it under the center. For these lists, I want the center one to be in active mode and the rest to be in inactive mode. To do so, select the last one, then navigate to the Fill panel. Click on this icon to detach the variable, then click the eye icon to hide the fill color. Repeat this process for the frame at the top. Afterward, we can change the names, one to debit card and the other to transit card. Let's change the text style to foreground secondary. Change the center frame's text style to foreground primary. Change the last one to foreground secondary. Now it's time to change the icon. While selecting the icon, go to the component properties. Click on the drop-down menu. You can choose from the list or use the search bar to find the icon. Change the color style to foreground secondary. Repeat the same process for the other icon. As you noticed, the knob is behind the list picker. Let's move the knob's layer above the list picker. How we order the layer is very important. As you noticed, the list frame extends beyond the ellipse. To solve this, let's use the Clip Content feature. Select the list picker frame, then go to the Frame panel. Click the checkbox for Clip Content. This will serve as a mask. Set the corner radius to 116 and more to shape it as a circle. Next, we will create a gradient with the previously duplicated ellipse. This will create a fade-in, fade-out effect. First, move the layer above the list frame. Then, add a gradient. Go to the Fill panel, click on the color picker, and choose the gradient option. Add one more color stop at the center. Set the third color stop to black with 100% opacity. Set the second color stop to black at 0% opacity. Lastly, set the first color stop to black at 100% opacity. Let's test it out. Click on the first list frame, then hold down the Shift key. While holding Shift, click on the third list frame. This will select all 3 frames together. Then, press the up arrow key to move them to the top. While holding Shift, this will move them by 10 pixels. And there you have it. You've just created a card design, a dial, and a list picker. In the next section, I'll show you how to create components and variants to prepare you for prototyping. In this section, I'll guide you through creating and using components and variants, and how to integrate them into a prototype. Additionally, I'll demonstrate how to utilize the after delay trigger, which allows you to start an action after the user has spent a set amount of time on a frame. Let's create a component from the card design we made earlier. Select the card frame. You can do this by selecting it from the Layers panel or clicking on the card in the canvas. Hold down the Option key, click and drag the card on the canvas, and then release it. This will create a copy of the card. You'll notice that the card changes to light mode by default. We can add another frame to change the mode. Press F for the Frame tool, click, drag, and release to create a new frame. Click on the Change Variable Mode icon in the Layers panel. Select Colors, then choose Dark to switch the card back to dark mode. Go to the Fill panel and click on the Style and Variable icon. Change the background color to blue from the design system. Now let's create a component. You can do this by selecting the card in the canvas or from the Layers panel. There are 3 methods to create a component in Figma. First, click Create Component in the toolbar at the top. Second, right-click on your selection and choose Create Component from the context menu. Third, use the shortcut keys. On Mac, press Option plus Command plus K. Figma will nest the layers within a special component frame. In the Layers panel, components are marked with a purple icon. Components are reusable elements in Figma. They allow you to create consistent designs by reusing elements across your project. For example, a button component can be used in multiple places and updated simultaneously by editing the main component. Next, let's add a variant to our component. Select your component, then go to the toolbar at the top and click Add Variant. Alternatively, right-click on your selection and choose Add Variant from the context menu. This will create a new variant next to the original component. Variants are grouped together in a single component set. Variants are different versions of a component. They help you manage variations of a design, such as different states of a button, default, hover, pressed. Let's add auto layout to organize our components better. Select the frame, navigate to the auto layout panel, and activate it. Set the vertical and horizontal padding to 40. Add auto layout to the component. Select the component, then go to the auto layout panel and activate it. Use a horizontal layout for better organization. You'll notice a plus icon here. Click on this icon to add new variants. Add 3 more variants to create a total of 5 credit card variants. Add 1 more variant. This 6th variant will be used for the expanded and transformed landscape mode when tapped. Adjust the properties of the new variant to create different states, such as changing the color. Select each variant and rename them in the text field next to Property 1. Rename the first 5 variants to Card 1 to Card 5. Rename the 6th card to Landscape. Now, let's modify the 6th card to be a landscape card. Rotate the card by 90 degrees. Select the card and use the Rotate tool or set the rotation angle to 90 in the Properties panel. Use the Scale tool to adjust the height. Press K to activate the Scale tool, then scale the height to 240 while keeping the proportions. Remove any decimals in the dimensions from the frame panel to keep it clean. Adjust the position of the elements on the card. Select the logo and change its rotation angle back to 0. Align it 20 from the left and top. Select the name, set its rotation angle back to 0. Align it horizontally center and position it 20 from the left. Select the valid date, set its rotation angle back to 0, and align it 20 from the left and bottom. Use the Smart Guide for assistance by pressing the Option key. This will help align the elements precisely. Change its padding to 4. Let's remove the decimals for a cleaner design. Click and drag on the vertical rulers to pull guides onto your canvas. This will assist you in aligning with other elements. Remove any remaining decimals from the text and frame settings for a cleaner design. Next, let's add color to our cards. You can use the hex codes provided here at the bottom. Select the first card and go to the Fill panel. Click and choose Orange 500 for the color. For the second card, choose Red 500. For the third card, choose Teal 700. For the fourth card, choose Purple 700. For the fifth card, choose Indigo 800. We can also change the logo by selecting the components and using the Parent Component panel. Click on the drop-down menu in the Parent Component panel and choose MasterCard for the logo. Let's name this frame Components. It's also a good idea to add the section title frame as a component. Select the frame, then go to the toolbar and click on the Create Component icon. Next, duplicate this component by pressing Command plus D. This will create an instance. Finally, drag the parent component's frame into the component's frame. It's better to change this auto layout to a vertical layout. Remember to name your layers properly for better organization. Next, replace the current card with the component we created earlier. On the component's frame, select the first card and press Command+C to copy it. Go back to the screen's frame and select the card you want to replace. Right-click on your selection and choose Paste to Replace. This will automatically delete the old card and replace it with the new instance. It's a copy of the main component that you can place anywhere in your design. Instances are linked to the main component, meaning they inherit any updates made to the main component. You can customize instances to some extent without breaking their connection to the main component. Next, we will recreate this deck of cards. To do this, we will use an oval as a guide. Press the O key, then click and drag to create an oval. Set the dimensions to 623 by 470. Make sure the ellipse is placed inside the screen's frame. Align it horizontally to the center and position it at the bottom of the card. Now let's use layout grids for precise alignment. First, select the screen. Activate the layout grid by selecting the frame and clicking on the plus icon next to Layout Grid in the Properties panel. In the Grid panel, choose Columns from the drop-down menu. Set the type to Left and adjust the column width to 64. Change the gutter value to 1. Adjust the color opacity to 20% for better visibility. Set the offset value to 47. This will help us to align objects within a frame. With the guide set up, let's create a deck of cards. Select the card and press Command+D to duplicate it. In the Frame panel, change the angle to -10 degrees to rotate the card to the right. Remove any decimals in the rotation for a clean design. Click and drag the new card to the right, placing it next to the second grid column, just above the oval. While the card is selected, go to the Component panel. In the Properties section, choose Card 4 from the drop-down menu. Rename the layer to Credit Card 4. Duplicate the initial card by pressing Command+D. Rename the layer to Credit Card 2. In the Component panel, change to Card 2. Rotate the card to 10 degrees to tilt it to the left. Move Credit Card 2 to the left, placing it on the first grid column, just above the oval. Remove any decimals in the Frame panel. Select the center card and rename it Credit Card 3. In the Component panel, change to Card 3. Duplicate Credit Card 2 by pressing Command+D. Change the order so that Card 1 is beneath Card 2. Rename it to Credit Card 1. In the Component panel, change to Card 1. Change the angle in the Frame panel to 20 degrees. Move Credit Card 1 to the left, following the alignment pattern. Remove any decimals. Duplicate Credit Card 4 by pressing Command+D. Rename it to Credit Card 5. In the Component panel, change to Card 5. Change the angle in the Frame panel to -20 degrees. Move Credit Card 5 to the right, placing it next to the third grid column, just above the oval. Remove any decimals. Once our deck of cards is arranged, we can remove the guides. Select the screen. On the Layout Grid panel, click the eye icon to hide the grid. In the Layers panel on the left, select the oval, then click the eye icon to hide it or delete it. And there you have it. You've just created a deck of cards design. Before we set up the screens for the prototype, make sure to organize your layers and name them properly. Once the first screen is set, we will duplicate it. Select the screen. Hold down the Option key, click and drag on the canvas, then release. This will create a copy of the screen. Keep the first screen as the original. Let's rename this screen to Screen 1. Now, let's work with the duplicated screens for the prototype. Duplicate Screen 1 by pressing Command+D. By default, this new screen is named Screen 2. Move Screen 2 next to Screen 1, ensuring there's a 200-pixel space between them. Duplicate Screen 2 in the same way. By default, this new screen is named Screen 3. Now, let's customize Screen 1. We'll center one card while hiding the others. Click on Credit Card 5, and while holding the Option key, click on Credit Card 1 to select all the cards. With all cards selected, go to the Layout properties. Change the angle to 0 degrees. Set the Y position to 141 and align them horizontally to the center. Next, we'll work on Screen 2. Here, we want to show a stack of colorful credit cards overlapping each other. Start by selecting all the cards again. Click on Credit Card 5, and while holding the Option key, click on Credit Card 1. In the Layout panel, click on the Align Horizontal Center icon. This will automatically stack the cards just the way we want. And that's it! You've successfully set up and customized multi-screen prototypes in Figma. For our first prototype, we'll create an intro animation using the after delay trigger to automate the transition between screens. The after delay trigger lets you transition to the next frame after a specified time. For example, in an introductory screen, you can set a 3000 RMS, 3 seconds delay, to move to the main content automatically. Now let's create a prototype connection to build the interaction. Click the Prototype tab on the right sidebar to switch to prototyping mode. This setting allows you to preview your prototype with a selected device. Click on the play icon here to preview. From the device drop-down menu, choose iPhone 14 Pro. You can choose the model that best suits your project. Set the background color for your preview as desired. Hover over the Screen 1 frame. This is a hotspot. A hotspot is where the interaction happens. It can be the entire frame or any object within it, such as a button, icon, or heading. Next, we have the connection. Click the blue plus sign on the edge of the button. This is the arrow, or noodle, that links the hotspot to the destination. Here, you define the interaction trigger, actions, and adjust animation settings. Then drag the connection to Screen 2 frame. This is where the connection ends. Typically, the destination is a top-level frame, unless you're using the Scroll To action, which can target elements within the same top-level frame. This opens up the Interaction Details modal. First, let's talk about triggers. Triggers define what type of interaction will cause your prototype to move forward. This could be on tap, a mouse click, a touch gesture, or even a key press. For this tutorial, we'll be choosing the after delay feature. This parameter controls the length of the delay preceding the start of the animation. Next, we have actions. Actions define what happens when a user interacts with the hotspot. This could be moving to another frame, opening an overlay, or even playing an animation. Now, let's look at destinations. The destination is where your interaction leads. Usually, this is another screen in your prototype, but it could also be an overlay that appears on top of the current screen. Animation settings determine how your prototype moves from one frame to another. You can choose from various transitions, like fading, sliding, or even custom animations. In our case, let's use Smart Animation. Smart Animation is a feature in Figma that creates smooth, visually appealing transitions between different frames or states of your design. It intelligently animates the changes in position, scale, rotation, and opacity of objects, making your prototype feel more dynamic and interactive. By using Smart Animate, you can seamlessly replicate various dynamic effects, including loading sequences, parallax scrolling, touch gestures, sliders, toggles, switches, expanding content, pull to refresh, easing Bezier presets. Easing functions adjust the speed of an animation during its runtime, making it start quickly and then slow down, or start slowly and then speed up, depending on the chosen curve. These effects are controlled using Bezier curves, which graph the progression of the animation over time. You can find more information on their Help Center website at https://help.figma.com/HCNUS. Let's use Gentle. Gentle easing is all about creating smooth, subtle animations that feel natural and comfortable for the user. This type of easing is particularly effective when you want transitions to be seamless and barely noticeable, providing a pleasant and fluid user experience. Let's check out our first interaction by clicking the play button at the top right. It's awesome. It rotates nicely. You can press R key to refresh. To start playing your prototype, click on Flow 1 on the left side of Screen 1. Flow 1 represents the sequence of screens and interactions you've set up. Alternatively, click on the Flow starting point to add a live preview in the Prototype tab on the right sidebar. Next, let's try other spring animation. Spring animation mimics the behavior of a spring, causing an object to move back and forth before settling into place. This creates a bouncy, elastic effect that makes the animation lively and engaging. Now let's test the quick version of the spring animation. This animation is fast and bouncy, with minimal damping, perfect for small, playful interactions. Next, let's try slow. This animation is slow and smooth with significant damping, ideal for gentle and subtle transitions. Try switching to instant, and notice how the movement is sharp and immediate compared to the smooth, bouncy effect of the spring animation. Instant animation moves the object directly to its final position without any bounce or delay. This creates a sudden, snappy effect, ideal for transitions, where speed and immediacy are needed. Try applying the move-in animation and observe how the object gracefully slides into position. This animation causes the object to slide into view from a specified direction. It's smooth and visually pleasing, ideal for introducing elements gradually into a scene. Changed spring animation presets to gentle and switching move-in animation to smart animation. For the duration, leave the default value. You can control how long it takes, in milliseconds, ms, to complete the transition. Try these settings and observe how they affect the flow and feel of your animation. Notice how the gentle spring animation offers a soft bounce, and the smart animation provides a seamless and intuitive transition. We can increase the delay by 1200 milliseconds, ms. This adds a 1.2-second pause before the animation begins, allowing for a more controlled and intentional start. Try lowering the delay and observe how it affects the timing and pacing of your animation. Return to 800 milliseconds. I find that this timing is perfect for the animation. Next, let's create an interactions for Screen 2 to Screen 3. Select Screen 2. Click on the blue anchor point, small circle, on the right edge of Screen 2. Drag the anchor point and connect it to Screen 3. This will create a link between the two frames. After connecting the frames, the Interaction Details modal will appear automatically. Choose After Delay from the Trigger drop-down menu. This means the transition will start after a brief delay. Set the delay duration to 100 milliseconds, ms. This brief delay allows for a smooth visual transition. Select Navigate to from the Action drop-down. This tells Figma to move to the next frame. Ensure Screen 3 is set as the destination frame. Choose Smart Animation to enable advanced animations that smoothly transition properties between the frames. Select the Gentle preset. This ensures the animation will start and end softly, providing a natural and comfortable user experience. Keep the duration at the default value of 800 milliseconds. Click on Flow 1 in the left panel to start playing your prototype. Flow 1 represents the sequence of screens and interactions you've defined. Alternatively, you can click the play icon in the top right corner of the Figma window to launch the prototype preview. And there you have it. You've just learned how to create and apply components and variants in Figma, design a deck of cards, and set up a multi-screen prototype with after delay and smart animation. As a special bonus, we'll also include an extra design with a unique prototype. Stay tuned for more creative insights and techniques. Exclusively available to our premium members on YouTube and subscribers on the DesignCode site. In the next section, we'll cover some exciting topics. Learn how to implement smooth and responsive swipe interactions. Create engaging carousel animations for dynamic content display. Explore how to add dynamic overlays to your designs.